MVPs. When Derrick Henry ran for 2,000 yards that year, I mean, Lamar Jackson should have got the MVP. I don't think Josh Allen really deserved it. But I mean, he deserved it, but he didn't. Not over Lamar Jackson is what I mean. Like he's a great quarterback. I love Josh Allen. Don't get me wrong. He's a great quarterback. I take him over Mahomes in the playoffs. We're going against each other at least. Not anymore because they're 0-4. But when I want Josh Allen to win if they're going against Patrick Mahomes. But listen, Lamar Jackson, big trust. He's going to win a Super Bowl ring before Josh Allen, and that's all that matters. And I love Steph Curry, by the way, everybody. So, but we'll get to that in a minute too. But yeah, Lamar Jackson, he's going to win MVP again very soon.
Yeah, the craziest part about his 3 interceptions this year during the regular season was 2 of them were tipped. So he really only truly threw like 1 pick the entire year.
And the third one was against the Steelers, where I think Bateman ran the wrong route. So I mean, seriously, it's just insane to me. I understand he had like a bunch of fumbles throughout the year, which are obviously turnovers. But when it comes to the pure, just joy of watching him, he was literally carrying the team on his back. And I know Josh Allen was as well, but you got to realize he lost those games when, against the Rams when he had those 6 touchdowns. I mean, that should count as something. That's the biggest stat. So that's just my opinion. But congrats to Josh Allen. Got engaged and got a ring regardless. So
glad you took the high road and congratulating the boy Josh after we had some
man, we was going
words from
talk
for the past year and a half.
Going at it, man. We was
some emphatic discussion for sure about that. But yeah, it was Josh Allen's award from the start. I mean, that's what I'm talking about with the PR campaigns. It was Josh Allen's award from the very beginning of the NFL season. That's just what everyone acknowledged, is that this year was going to be his year to win MVP. We talk about it in the NBA too. We talked about, especially this year, Jokic versus SGA. Like, is this year SGA's year to finally win an MVP? And then same goes for if there's a year that Doncic is going to win MVP. Just from the beginning of the season, you're going to hear the narratives that this is the year that this player specifically is going to win this award. I mean, you look at DPOY from, I think it was 2023, when Marcus Smart won it over Drew Holiday because of a PR campaign, because Boston put on their best, they put boots on the ground and put on their best Drew Holiday bash campaign as possible to get Marcus Smart the DPOY when he really didn't deserve it. And that's what all pro sports awards more or less are becoming now, just big popularity contests.
Feels like the MLB is Aaron Judge's to lose this year.
Oh yeah, he started off hot, man. I mean,
he might be the greatest hitter I've ever seen. He just might be.
He actually is up there to me. That's not even crazy to say to me, but.
And I'm not even just talking about like his ability to hit the ball, but on top of that too, we have never seen a guy with his size also be so athletic and as strong as he is. He can just will baseballs out of anywhere. It doesn't matter where he's playing. Pitcher-friendly park, Yankee Stadium with the short porch, does not matter. He's hitting at least 3 there in that series. And he should go down. The only problem is that his peak is coming a little later in his career compared to other guys. So the fall off is going to be kind of crazy if and when there is a fall off. But that being said, from the start to end of his peak, he will go down as the greatest baseball player of all time, simply because of what he can do with the stick in his hand.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay. Okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but sorry, Sam. But I believe all the homers he hit last week, he was not a user of the torpedo bat.
No, he wasn't.
No, he's not. He's not using the bat. The bats are a good thing. The bats are a good thing for the sport. We talked about this on Tuesday.
Yep.
But the league should also start to institute using or allowing the pitchers, to use spider tack. If we're going to let batters make a lot of adjustments to the bat, and then granted, the torpedo bat is nothing new, truly. I mean, the Yankees paid an MIT scientist to recreate something that was already created 20 plus years ago for high schoolers to use in batting practice. This has already been a thing. And now that it's going to the pros, to where they're learning exactly where the ideal sweet spot on the bat is, let the pitchers use what they want. Pitching, the problem I see is that pitching is going to become almost like an ancient art form, especially starting pitchers. Relief pitchers will still be around. They'll be around forever. But starting pitching, we've already seen it with pitch count limits that teams are implementing on their own guys. We've seen it with the 3-batter minimum. We've seen it with all these different new pitches like the sweeper, Paul Skeens with his splitter sinker combo. I mean,
Winker.
the splinker, yes. Pitchers' arms are turning into pork shoulder. Like that's as simple as it is. They're just turning into meat falling right off the bone. I'm saying basically verbatim what I said on Tuesday. Let the guys use what they want. Just no performance enhancing drugs. That's where I would cross or draw the line. Excuse me.
Jerks and Profar.
But
Right.
no jerks and Profar. It's amazing to me. It's amazing to me how in the year of our Lord 2025 there are still guys getting suspended for performance enhancing drugs. When all these things you can
my
do
thing on that is it's like when you talk about PEDs don't help you hit a 95 mile an
They
hour.
do not help you at all, bro. They help you stay in shape.
Run 20 miles per hour to steal
Yeah.
second. It doesn't help you throw a guy out by like 50 feet. No, it only performance enhancing drugs is really used for really recovery purposes and to help you recover quickly to,
In shape.
be great.
Yeah. Those drugs are used around. I mean, from what I've known, knowing a little bit about each sport, football is definitely where they use it, the most undercover. We see Bobby Portis just got caught using it. I mean, he said he used it on accident, but
that's what they all
So
said.
did Fernando
Yeah,
Tatis
okay.
Jr. And then Jerkson Profar was training with Fernando Tatis Jr. and his dad in the Dominican Republic all summer. I mean, that's coincidence. I think not, right?
Definitely not.
Yeah. So, I mean, those drugs are all like worldwide when it comes to sports. I mean, it's inevitable. People are going to use it all the time because they think it's going to make them better. Or I think it's, should be used to stay in shape, not, aggressively or anything like that. But, if you're stupid enough to get caught with it, like, I mean, you're going to get caught. This is just how it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can agree with that. So we're going to hold off on that for a while. We got all season to talk about that. I wanted to get into movie reviews. What are y'all movie reviews that y'all have had? We're going to do a topic every now and then, like a miscellaneous topic to, just not just stick on sports. We're going to try to, branch out. Like if there's some celebrity gossip going on, like Chris Brown going to Wrigley Field or something, that's gonna be something to watch for summer. Lollapalooza is
When
coming.
Snoop Dogg pulled up at Miller Park last year.
That was
Right?
one of the craziest things, just out of the
crazy.
blue, and
That
then
was
becomes
the
like
most
best friends.
random collab.
And then he joins the broadcast too. That was the funniest part to me was he joined the broadcast of all things,
He does
and
anything
then
he wants.
becoming like buddies with Pat Murphy and Christian Yelich. It's kind of goofy. Yeah, 1 minute movie review. So this is something I introduced, and like Jalen said, we're gonna do some lifestyle topics here and there. You listen to other sports syndicated shows around the country, and usually the first few minutes is just a lifestyle thing. Catching up with each other. You're basically chopping it up, shooting the shit, however you want to put it. But I just watched Wicked recently, and I honestly don't know how to feel. I don't understand. It's a cool take and an interesting take, giving some more background to the story. It's almost like a prequel to the original Wizard of Oz, which I liked, right? Like the original Wizard of Oz is a timeless classic, right? You can watch that anytime, anywhere, and you're going to enjoy the movie, right? Like a true good versus evil thing. This turned into the Wicked Witch of the West, dude. She really wasn't evil.
She's not.
And she really never ended up being evil by any means. Kind of crazy to think about how that works. And it makes you really think about like people's motives, people's intentions, just everywhere in every walk of life. Also, Ariana Grande, I mean, there's something going on. I'm fully convinced there's something going on. She does not.
We was talking about this in our group chat.
100%.
Like our group chat, like I will forever die on this horse that there's something going on with her. She
There
had
has
me
to
on a
be.
chokehold in 2018, and I will never, ever forget the chokehold that she had me from. What was it, like 2012 to like 2020?
Hey, she still got it, bro. Relax.
I mean, she still got it, but it's not like
not as much, you know what I'm saying? But people go through stuff all the time. But she's still a
She just needs to get introduced to me. That's all.
She's still a juggernaut, bro. I'll dial in that hill. She's a juggernaut. She's one of the best singers in history. So I mean,
one of the greatest actors too.
Exactly. So
Actresses.
let me chime in on Sam's movie. So I made a movie review last year on my Snapchat, and my top 5 movies were just the movies I saw all year. I had a bunch of honorable mentions. My top 3 were Dune 2 was 1, Wicked was 2, and then Smile 2 was 3. And that's the movie.
Smile, bro.
Listen.
Oh man, that was a crazy. The
Listen to
twist
me.
at the end was wild.
Listen
It was
to me, bro.
insane.
Naomi Scott is one of the most underrated actresses I've ever seen in my life. Okay, Smile 2 is the scariest movie I've ever seen in my life, and I'll down the hill. It is. I went to see it, and me and my girl were like, you know, we met when we saw the first Smile movie, right?
Mhm.
And we that was
Did
our
y'all
first
give each
date.
other the smile when y'all met?
Yeah, no, we that was our first date, and so we went to see
Mm.
Smile 2. We had to, right? So I go in to see this movie, not expecting to be scared because I don't get scared of scary movies, bro. Walk into this movie, I'm shivering the whole time. The movie is one of the best movies I've ever seen, and one of the scariest movies I've ever seen. Naomi Scott is one of the best actresses I've ever seen in my life. And now to go back on to Sam's movie, Wicked. Now that movie is unbelievable to me. Cynthia Erivo, she's genuinely probably a top 10 singer ever, women wise. Maybe ever. I don't know. Her voice is absolutely.
It's but it's in
so
the
unique.
sect of like Broadway musicals,
right.
Like
That's,
I can agree with
that's-
that in that section. Like we're talking just like pure singers of all. No, I think there's.
yes.
I don't know.
We can
don't know.
out-sing some of your best singers, bro. I'm telling you. Do you think Beyonce's a better singer than her?
Beyonce?
Yeah, it's a tough debate. It is.
It is tough because I don't know. Beyonce's act is a little bit more influence
she's
and
more hip-hop
celebrity
R&B.
appeal than it is.
Right.
She's still a great singer. Don't get me wrong, but it's a little less about the music and more about the celebrity appeal, like the pathos appeal.
Right, I get it, but I'm saying though, Cynthia Erivo, if you listen to all her Broadway songs, her voice is just like she's a juggernaut. They're both 5'2", and they sing better than half the majority, 95% of the world. Like no one can sing like that. So there's some notes that she hits that no one else can hit. Like Ariana Grande could try. She could try to sing it like her. Like the last song, Defying Gravity. Ariana Grande is not singing it like Cynthia Erivo. It's not happening. That's just my opinion. So that movie's amazing. I'm glad you got to see it. It's a great movie, but it's tough out here.
I wanted to talk. Sorry, Jalen, but I wanted to bring up in honor of Val Kilmer. I wanted to pose a question to you guys. Which Top Gun, if you've seen both of them, do you think is better? Because I'm weird. I saw Maverick first over the original, actually, and I wanted to know. Because of that, I prefer Maverick specifically because I saw it with all this enhanced CGI. I just thought it was one of the best movies ever produced, and I wanted to hear your guys' opinion.
Well, to be honest, I've never really even seen none of the Top Gun movies for real. If we being honest,
Neither have I.
Watched those.
Wow,
I've seen them.
I couldn't tell.
I didn't see the second one yet, but the first one's a magnificent movie. I don't know why I haven't seen the second one yet. I just never got to it yet. But
I don't even know. Like I'm not a big movie person. Like I watch a lot of TV shows. I watch a lot of cop shows. If I have to put an emphasis on it, big into the FBI series. Big into the Chicago series, and the new NCIS Sydney. Yeah,
that's a good one.
Big into all of the crime shows, which is
watching crime movies.
Yeah, my sister will probably get on me about that, but the one movie I'll probably give a review on is The Den of Thieves. The second one I just seen, like the first one was I mean, it was like they were really just going to rob a bank for real. But the second one, it almost got global if you're thinking about it. Like they robbed this. I don't know if it was something overseas where they robbed some jewelry thing to get like some certain kind of box for one of the guys that had to pay back a debt. So they were doing a robbery, and he had to pay back his debt. And the guy that was doing it with him ended up being an undercover cop. So he got them all arrested once they started celebrating that they finished the heist and stuff. And and they couldn't believe, like, when they were driving past in the cop car, they were looking at him with disgust. I was like, yeah, he just got y'all for real. So
since you like crime shows, what's your favorite crime show?
Have to pick one.
Stuff, right?
Probably the Chicago series. I mean, you can't really just pick one from that series. It's probably the Chicago series. Like PD is insane. Like
it's a good. That show gets very good marketing. I realize that they're in like every commercial. I like it. I've never seen it, but I appreciate that.
Yeah, you might as well. You might have to watch an episode or two because it gets you hooked quick.
Okay, I'll take that into consideration.
But I ain't even seen Wicked yet, so I might have to end up.
Bro, tap in, bro. Tap in. It's one of the best musical movies I've seen.
My sister, my sister has seen it. Went to go see it twice. So,
hey, go see Dune too. If you've seen it.
We got a
I
comment coming in.
I ain't gonna lie, I seen Dune.
We got a comment coming in from Mr. Drew Best saying, "Someone talk about the Barbie movie."
All right,
Who
let's
wants to
talk
take the
about
floor
it.
on that?
I got this.
Who wants to take the floor on that? You got it. All
As
right,
much as I hate
take
to
it
say
away.
I never saw it.
Take it away.
Let's talk about it. Okay, Margot Robbie, she's great. I thought the movie was very well portrayed. I thought, I forget the guy. What's his name?
Ryan Gosling.
Ryan Gosling. Yes.
Yeah.
He was didn't he win an Oscar for that movie? I don't remember. I know he's nominated.
He won something.
He won something
off of that.
That movie, it really, it's not really for, guys, I feel like, it's really a woman empowerment movie. And, I really appreciate they got all types of people in it, different types of people, white, black, Asian, don't even matter. They got
Shang-Chi in there.
Yeah, they got Shang-Chi in there from the Marvel movie. He was in that movie singing. So I'm like, oh. So I thought the movie was great, but when it compared to Oppenheimer, it was tough, man. Oppenheimer was something else to me, man. But that's again that resonates more with me than Barbie would with me. So I thought Barbie was a great movie. It's just I'm not a part of that target audience, but it was, if you watch for a second time, you think, okay, that's a pretty good movie. But the first time I'm like, kind of fell asleep a little bit, but then the second time I'm like, okay, it's not bad. I watched it again in Arizona, when I was just chilling. But it was pretty cool. I think Margot Robbie is one of the best actresses out there. She's just been out of the game because she's on maternity leave probably. So
didn't she play like Harley Quinn or something?
Oh yeah, go to.
Yeah, she did.
I don't know how she does it, bro. That accent is perfect, pinpoint. She's Australian too, so it doesn't.
When she nailed on Wolf of Wall Street, she nailed the Brooklyn accent. Too.
Yeah, dude. That's the Harley Quinn.
She got the role. I forgot what her name was.
Who?
The girl that was in Stranger Things, like the main character.
Millie Bobby Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What you gotta say, Jalen? Yeah.
Moving along.
Yeah.
But
all right,
that was our movie review. So we're gonna get into our next one. Now we're getting back into the sports realm. So we're gonna look at who should get the number 15 retired, Jokic or Melo.
And is there an option for both?
No.
I mean that's the question we have to ask, especially if we're looking at this from a realistic standpoint, because Carmelo Anthony quite literally brought the Denver Nuggets franchise out of hell. I mean, he was what overall pick was he again? Was he a first overall? Or was
he was
top 10, wasn't he?
He was in 03, so
he was third pick.
Yeah,
he was the LeBron draft. Yep. He was the LeBron draft. And the Nuggets were nowhere near successful really before Carmelo Anthony came into the league. And instantly starts dropping 20 a game, 21 a game in his first year. Did not win Rookie of the Year, only to Bron. And then a couple seasons in, he's already dropping 30 points a game in an era where 30 points a game just is not the status quo. Like nowadays, scoring almost feels unimpressive. Like even Giannis's triple-double last night. Like his triple-double last night, which was amazing. If we get to talk about that.
You said what's unimpressive? My bad. I didn't know that.
Scoring. Okay. Just in general, scoring. Yeah. And
well, let's look at all the people who don't know Melo. We can look at some of his scoring real quick.
They should be much better, and it points directly to their defensive intensity. Jackson saying, "Oh, what a block from Campbell!" And Jackson saying to Bryant, "You defend Allen Iverson. Accountability, and then you're putting pressure on him," as opposed to George Hall finding matchups to relax guys defensively.
There's Camby, who led the NBA in block shots for the third straight year. And attack. Barlow led the team to a record of 50 and 32. Camby the rebound. Denver with plenty of time. Nice outlet pass.
From above the three-point arc. That time a rhythm jump shot inside the three-point arc is an easier shot for Bryant.
He's now 2 for 10. Carmelo Anthony forces it up.
In NBA history, you remixed my sentence. Pound for pound. The guy is 6'1".
The Lakers with 3. We'll check that. Radmanovich also has 3. Anthony, nice little fit. What a performance. Carmelo on 3 minutes remaining. 11-point game. Kobe Bryant walking defense. Anthony gets inside. And yes.
He was insane.
But
He
yeah,
was
like-
The craziest part about him is he wasn't like an athletic freak or anything, and he was just so
Yeah,
fundamentally skilled, especially
he was
from mid-range.
he was strictly ball. He was strictly ball. And
when
looking,
the Knicks were giving him those terrible teams, and he's still able to put up 25 to 28 points a game in the mid 2010s in his prime and whatnot. It was just
six straight All-Star appearances, a third place MVP finish, NBA second team, NBA third team. I mean, just going back to his time with Denver, the Denver Nuggets, when they drafted him, had not been to the playoffs for 9 seasons.
Right.
For 9 years. From 1994-95 to 02-03, they had not made the playoffs. And they were a fairly decent team early on in their history. But he brought them out from a very low point. At one point, they had the worst record in NBA history at 11-71.
wow.
And that was just a few years before the Nuggets brought him in. The second they bring him in, they're instantly a playoff team. And they're a playoff team every year that Carmelo Anthony was a Denver Nugget. Every single season he was there, they were in the playoffs. What Jokic is doing is unbelievable.
I'm on the Jokic train. He needs to retire. He gave that team that first franchise and 3 MVPs.
That's true.
Let's talk about the run, though. Let's talk about the
First
run.
ring. It's first ring, 3 MVPs, and are we implying that he's going to win one again this season?
I personally think he deserves it this year, but I
Okay,
think
well,
Shea's going to end up getting it. Just it goes back to the whole PR,
PR
thing.
campaign.
Yeah,
Mhm,
it goes
the
back
PR
to the
campaign,
PR thing at the end of the day. Even though the game that sold me was the other day when he put up the 60-point triple-double.
Lost.
And it was ridiculous. It was filthy. It really
And
was.
you know that was some bull when he
They
lost,
lost.
bro. Come on, man. Get out of here with all
They
that.
lost.
You know,
Mhm.
you know Westbrook. I don't care
I
what
don't want to hear
anybody
none
say.
of
That
that,
was not
bro.
a foul.
Because if Curry or LeBron did it, they lost. It don't matter. That's how it is. We putting Jokic on that pedestal. Steph Curry and LeBron putting up numbers like that, and they lose a game. People could be like, "Oh, they lost. Oh, they lost. They don't deserve it. This so and so deserves it." If we're doing that with them, and Jokic is the best player in the world, and they were so called the best player in the world at one point, we should be putting them up. We should be putting them on that pedestal too. If Jokic loses a game and he puts up those stats, it don't matter. They lost. I mean, yeah, he put up the numbers. It was great, but he also shot 25 free throws. What are we talking about? Like, come on. We got to really stop this, man. Like, I get it. I love Jokic, but it's getting out of hand, bro. People are putting him like top 10 already based on these stats. And you got to realize
Stop.
before that run he had, that little Mickey Mouse run he had, besides that Lakers series, bro, he was out every year in the second or first round, and he would lose 5 in 5 games. And the year the Warriors won the finals, I'm pretty sure one of the years the Warriors went against them, they lost in like 5 games, and Jokic did nothing.
Well, the problem is his defense is just
Pathetic.
lackadaisical.
Hold on. Let me say something.
It's not there. He doesn't put in effort on defense.
I think I still got the clip to where they showed it in slow-mo if he got fouled.
Westbrook was there. It was a 3-point try. The foul
Bro,
not-
was there. It was
That
a
is not a foul.
3-point try.
Not a foul.
It's
the
not-
game. I don't care what
That's
nobody-
hardly
bro,
like
they
if
won
they
that
do call
game.
a foul. He was so far like done with his shooting. Like
If he played the
motion,
fall,
too.
he
It's like-
played the fall great, bro. But it's not
Yeah.
a foul. I agree, but they lost, bro. This is how it is, man. Look, if they won the game, I would be saying something different. But since they lost the game, it don't really matter to me, bro. Like it would look so like you got to realize every time Jokic pushes up 50, they lose. I don't get it. So it like
Yeah, that's crazy. Actually, I can't even.
It's a
lie about
it's
that.
a known
That's
fact.
insane.
He's put up 50, what, like 7 times. They lost every single game. Come on, man. What are we talking about? At that point, it's empty stats. I don't want to say that because I look at it as greatness. But if they're losing games, it's like what are we even looking at then? It's just empty stats. They're not doing anything with it. He's getting triple doubles. Yes, he's gonna break the record one of these days. He's gonna break Russell's record. But like, if you're not winning games to me, bro, it don't really matter. He could put up crazy stats in the playoffs and losing 5 or 6, and I'd be like, oh, he did it for nothing, and it don't matter to me. So yes, to me, I'm gonna say Jokic obviously gets the 15 retired because his accolades are way better. He did get the ring, but we not go sit here and act like Carmelo's not gonna get a
No, he ain't said
No.
He's gonna be in the Hall of Fame this year.
Yeah.
First ballot.
Yeah, he literally already got
He is
indicted.
inducted. Yep.
the other day.
But we gotta realize that they might do both. Like Sam said, they might do both because
I feel like they
Carmelo,
should. That's the only way. And we have a comment here, Nate Janik saying Melo's mostly known for New York. Yes, he's one of the greatest Nuggets of all time, but he's most notably known for being a New York Knick.
Exactly. He's going to get that 7 retired in New York.
I agree.
I
completely
agree. The 15 does not need to be in Denver.
Jenny, you are completely correct. I know exactly who Nate is. That's one of my boys.
Same. I know who Nate is too. What's going on, girl?
Yeah.
What's going on, bro?
But yeah,
that's I don't know. It's such a toss up for me. It really is. Simply, and the reason why I would give Melo the nod again is simply because the guy brought Denver out of the worst times in their franchise's history. He completely kickstarted the turnaround for that team. If there's no Melo, I mean, yes, they could have drafted someone else in that draft in 03. Like, let's go to the 03 draft here. Obviously, LeBron's not available. No Darko. But Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade, TJ Ford, who else? I mean, it was very top heavy in this draft. But let's say they go Chris Bosh or Dwayne Wade over Carmelo Anthony. Who's to say that, especially with Chris Bosh, who's to say that Chris Bosh is going to bring Denver out of the pits of hell like Carmelo Anthony did?
Hold on, wait. Not like Carmelo, but he did some damage.
But he was great. No. Get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. He was great. I'm not saying he was bad.
I'm
not saying he was bad. He turned Toronto around too.
Yeah,
he kickstarted Toronto's first run.
Toronto was new
towards
too.
the playoffs.
So
and then he filled in right after Vince Carter left for the Nets. And then Dwayne Wade was the jump start for the Heat success.
And then he got Shaq.
But at the same, and they also got Shaq, Alonzo Mourning at some point. But these 03. Like, let's go 03, 04 Nuggets here. His rookie season, 19 years old, he's dropping 21 points a game.
Bucket.
Hold on, I clicked the wrong link.
He didn't
21, 4 and 3. No, because LeBron. Yeah. That team, I mean, you had a very young Nene. Andre Miller was on this team. He was the second leading scorer.
Nene.
You had Nene. Marcus Camby, Earl Boykins, Chris Anderson, a very young Birdman, was on this team. Carmelo was the main guy.
Mm-hmm.
He was the main guy. Go back a season before that to 02-03, the year before Melo came in. And they didn't have a 20-point per game scorer. It was Juwan Howard at 18, James Posey at 14, and Nene at 10.5.
Right.
Carmelo Anthony instantly sparked a new form of offense for this Denver Nuggets team and turned them into a playoff team. This 02-03 team was 17-65. Melo comes in. They basically switch him and Juwan Howard out for each other, and they turn the whole ship around.
And then
they turn it all around because of Melo. The Nuggets were already largely successful pre-Jokic. That's my point I'm trying to make here.
I don't know about largely.
Let's look at some Jokic highlights here.
Butler's made some really good plays off the dribble that they just haven't rewarded with a made three.
3 of 13 from downtown is Miami, Jeff. Jokic gets inside. Zeller takes a tumble.
Great transition defense.
Murray on the drive. Jokic again, the entry pass. And
Boston switch. They're playing, forcing it to the baseline, which opens up these pockets and windows for Adebayo to get good, deep catches.
He's taking full advantage. Jokic to Murray. Murray, good look for three. Puts it in. At the Meta Quest halftime. As Jamal Murray, the Nuggets off to a good start. Greenberg, Michael Wilbon, Jalen Rose, here of the building.
Jamal Murray in
Denver. They do have a foul to give. Nice pass from Murray.
Jokic is elevating all of these players. He elevated Murray to another level of play. Wasn't Murray playing way more before Jokic got really turned on to the scene?
Yeah.
And Jokic comes into the scene and does what he does, and now look, Murray's a freaking, oh my God, he's one of the greatest guards in the league. Like, Jokic is getting that 15 retired, bro.
The thing about Jokic's highlights that stand out to me so much is just the passing, because we've never seen a center pass as well as he does. It's effortless. He had a pass against Milwaukee like a week or two ago where it was just I forget exactly what he did, but I think it was like behind the head. Or something like that.
He was looking one way and then 2-hand pass, not even like a 1-hand like you normally see, but he goes 2-handed. It's almost like a little touch pass, like setting it like a volleyball. 2-hand touch pass behind his neck. Doesn't even know who's over there. He just feels it and shoves it over there. But
that's something we've never seen before.
We have another comment here. Jalen Harazuski saying this. I think he's replying to Janik here, saying, we only say that being Melo we know of as a New York Knick because of us actually realizing what basketball was when we were kids and watching it when he was on the Knicks. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but most of us became familiar with basketball probably around like 7-8 years old, roughly.
Yep.
Maybe
right
a little later.
Numbers.
I really became familiar with the sport truly, like as a whole, not just the Bucks, but the sport of basketball when I was like 10-ish years old. So like right before Melo gets traded to the Knicks is when I really started paying attention to basketball. So I have faint memories of Carmelo as a Nugget. Jalen, I'm sure you probably have a couple. But Chris, Nazir, I don't know about you guys, but I still remember Carmelo as a Nugget. And now you look at these numbers, you look at what happens.
I remember him being there, but I'm a year younger than all of you guys too, so I remember him a lot more on the Knicks. I want to say like the first year I watched the NBA at all was like 2009, which I think I was 7 at the time. And then he got traded, I think, was it 2011 or 2012 was the year he got moved over to New York.
2012.
Yeah, that was like when I was finally starting to get into just watching the league as a whole and not just the Bucks or the Lakers and the Cavs with LeBron and the Celtics.
So I started watching when LeBron was in the finals. That's his first time for basketball. I started watching basketball before I started watching football because everyone I was around loved just watching basketball. So that was kind of when I remember Melo as a Nugget. Not to this capacity of what I do now, obviously, but you know, I remember him mainly as a Knick. I will be honest, because him as a Knick was something else. That's more when I, was it a young teen or whatever, and he was just balling like every day. So, I mean, just back to the argument though, like, man, it's tough, but Jokic is definitely gonna get retired over just purely of what he's done recently. And that's what people are going to go off of. They're going to go off the recent stuff. They're not going to
recency bias will probably skew that towards him.
And Melo has a great argument. They both wore the same number, but
we can do recency bias with LeBron and Michael Jordan, but that's another topic for another day. So we're going to jump into our next topic. Is we're going to talk about the Final Four. It kicks off tonight with the women though. Texas takes on South Carolina and UConn takes on UCLA. UConn is the odds-on favorite to win the national championship at -160. South Carolina is at +270, so they're the second best odds to win. And then UCLA and Texas are both tied to be +800. That's actually insane to me because, well, I mean, like, how are they going to, how do you put 3 and 4 together? But that's wild. Right. So betting, this is not no betting advice, so don't take our word for it. But I think South Carolina's gonna win. So then the men's start tomorrow. You got Florida and Auburn, and then you got Houston and Duke. So Duke is the odds-on favorite to win that. They're at -110. Florida's at +300. Houston 450 and Auburn is 575. So the safest bet to do is obviously Duke, but if you want to get better money for your buck, then you would probably just try to look at Auburn or Houston.
Yeah.
So here's the the hype for it. You got Lauren Betts, you got Paige Beckers, you got obviously Cooper Flagg and Jonai Broom, and then you got Walter Clayton Jr. So all of those, it's gonna be a fun weekend to watch basketball for sure. You got the national championship is Monday?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yep.
Yes. And then
I still hate that they do that. I still hate that they do the championship on a Monday. Yeah, it should be prime time on a night where you can get the most amount of eyes possible. It should not be on a Monday night, a night in the work week, where people got to get up and bust their ass tomorrow morning or go to school or do something tomorrow.
They're still going to get it, though.
Play a national championship game. And then think about, too, are you actually going to get butts and seats like on a Monday night?
Yeah.
It's the same thing with the college football playoff too.
You could get so
That's
much more
different, though.
attraction. You get so much more attraction.
See,
by-
it's different for football though. For football they have the AFC Championship like the day before, so people are still hot off that, or divisional round, one of those. And the day after, they always have the national championship. It's smart because no one has Monday. Everyone watches Monday Night Football anyways, so that's just
Whoever made this graphic is insane, though. That's actually kind of
that's
pretty
right.
sick to me. I ain't gonna lie.
That's tough. Whoever did that, shout out to you. But I got Paige Buckets winning it all, bro. And
Paige Buckets. Wow, that's a new one. Well, I mean, she's the odds-on favorite to win, but
y'all
I
gotta
got
realize,
South
bro,
Carolina. I ain't gonna lie. I can't go against Dawn Staley, bro.
you gotta realize, bro, she was CC before CC was CC, bro. Let me tell you something.
And I'm gonna down that hill that CC is probably the greatest women's basketball player as we know right now.
Wait.
You could make an argument if Paige never got injured, though, that she'd be.
Well,
even
yeah,
better
of course.
than
There's
Caitlin
like,
right now.
Bro,
I don't think Caitlin comes onto the scene if Paige is like
exactly.
already there. So really, the injury helped. Really, both. It really actually helped women's basketball. Like, it's insane. Like,
if Paige was healthy, she would have dropped off CC every time they played. She
Yeah,
already
they
did.
yeah, because she played. I mean, I can't lie though, because Caitlin played with a bunch of 3-4 star players, and Paige is playing with a lot of 5 stars. But
Was that UConn?
This is UConn, yeah, but bro, like I get it. The school placement, but you gotta understand though, it's still levels to the game. Paige was doing stuff before Caitlin Clark was shooting from half court. Like she was doing some crazy, and then we got Juju Watkins. Like I'm praying for her knee. Oh my God. Let me tell you something, bro. When Juju Watkins goes to WNBA, it's over.
she is gonna be insane. It's gonna be interesting. She might end up in Toronto. I ain't even gonna lie though.
Did you see that one stat line? She had like 35, like 7, 10, and 8 steals. Some crazy. I don't remember the exact numbers. Some crazy numbers. I'm telling you right now, Juju Watkins is one of the best women's basketball players I've ever seen. Okay, and that takes nothing away from like Candace Park. Candace Park is bucket. Okay, all the women, Bird is a bucket. Okay, but man, Juju's something else. She's special, bro. There's another girl somewhere. I forgot what school it was. I gotta look it up. She plays like Kyrie, bro. It's crazy. Oh my gosh, the talent in women's basketball gets me excited for the WNBA.
It's gotten so
I
much.
think it's for Wiley.
The talent is exponentially growing.
Yeah,
right
for
now.
Wiley from South Carolina.
Yes,
too. I ain't
she's
gonna
a
cap.
bucket. She's a bucket. She plays like Kyrie Irving, bro. Just straight handles, just. And then you got Flage. We know she's a rapper. She's a bucket on LSU. She was at least with Angel Reese. Man,
Before we get into the men's, that's actually insane to actually think about that. Flage is going to be going back to school, and Olivia Miles is headed back to school. So
Yeah,
that's interesting because now the WNBA was marketing them to. So now that they're going back to school, it's just Paige really coming out for real,
mm-hmm.
and it's like.
But you got to wait all 4 years as a woman, though, right? To go to the next level.
They have. I think it's 3, but they had the
because Flage went back. And she's going to be a senior this year.
I thought it was. I thought you have to wait till after your senior year to go because you got to get your education or something like that.
Maybe she's a fifth year
because they got that COVID thing. I think.
Yeah.
So I guess they get extra year. But
yeah.
So I think it is a senior, but they get the COVID extra year. So she's foregoing the WNBA. Her and Olivia Miles is foregoing that and going back to school. But Olivia Miles is entered the transfer portal, so that would be interesting to see where she ends up.
Haley Van Lith is tough too. She's she's short too.
Bro, Haley Van Lith is probably she's probably the baddest women's basketball player I've ever seen. I ain't even gonna cap to you. Haley Van Lith, bro.
Haley Van Lith. What about Cameron Brink? What's going on?
She too skinny for me. I ain't gonna lie to you.
You said the exact same thing.
I can't even lie. Like, but going into the men's side, we got Cooper Flag obviously leading the headline for the NBA. Jonai Broom, who's going to probably be a top 10 pick. You got Walter Clayton Jr. as well. So my Final Four was up to snuff when Tennessee happened, but Tennessee lost, so that ruined my Final Four. And then Michigan State lost. So
that really been busted since second round, bro.
Yeah. So we got who y'all national championships? Who y'all national championship pick? Because we won't be back on the cast till after the championship. So.
I gotta stand with Duke, man. They've just
going with Duke.
watching. They're a fun team to watch. Their chemistry is outstanding. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, they're like
Todd and Cooper are just both such smart players, and that's why they're able to succeed. It's just they know how to draw the defense when they go into the lane and just throw up those lobs to their 7'2" center with the 7'5" wingspan. And it's just insane how well they play together as a team. And then Proctor's out there as well doing his thing. And it's so much fun to watch in their offense. It's a locomotive. It really is.
What's actually crazy is that Duke plays well without Cooper too. So that's
he goes to the bench. And
team,
There's such a good, just a well-rounded, deep team that they can handle him going to the bench. Whereas some teams, if their best player gets in foul trouble, they struggle.
Yeah, so it'll be very interesting to see. My champion is I'm taking Duke.
I want Florida to win, but
I think Florida's going to win.
I think
they're going to.
I really need them to win, but I don't see it no more, bro. I don't know.
They have the size to combat Duke. That's the thing. They have the size to beat Auburn. And what I like is that Florida is 25-11 against the spread this year, and they're 2.5-point favorites. Auburn has not covered their team total over-under in 7 of their last 8 games. They've been under their team total in 7 of the last 8, and that includes tournament games. I'm not comfortable taking Auburn. And plus, watching that game against Michigan State, I don't see the hype around Johni Broome. I really don't. I struggle to see the hype. He doesn't look athletic. He looks pretty slow and doesn't do much outside of the paint or even mid-range. He shoots every once in a while, but it's never outside the three-point arc, at least from what I saw in these couple tournament games from Auburn.
He had a couple
and then early in the season,
Michigan State, I think. He hit a 3 for sure.
He pulled a couple, but he's just so slow and unathletic that I just cannot trust Johni Broome to get around the likes of guys like Alex Condon and Thomas Huff.
Yep.
And then on top of that, too, Ruben Chinyelu is a defensive menace. This is a guy who didn't pick up a basketball. He didn't pick up a basketball until he was 15, and now he's one of the better defensive forwards or even centers, if you want to call him a center, in the nation. And Florida has the size. I've been following Walter Clayton Jr. since he was with Iona. He was a guy originally a Rick Pitino recruit. I'm honestly surprised he didn't follow Pitino to St. John's, but he has been terrific for Florida these last couple seasons. 18 points per game this year, 17.5 last year, 17 the year before that at Iona. He's always been a prolific three-point shooter. This year, nearly shooting 40%. His efficient field goal percentage is 56. I mean, this guy, assist-wise, this is a career high for him in assists this year, 4.2 per game. Florida just has all the keys. They've been the consensus number one, at least in my book, the longest this year, right? Because we had Kansas right at the beginning of the season. Then there was a point where
talk about a fall from grace, Kansas.
Yeah. Oh, that's ridiculous. Bill Self.
Sorry to bring this up, but AJ Storr on his 8th team in 8 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 4 high school teams. Now going to be on to his 4th college, and he was almost drafted last year. He was in the draft class last year and decided to pull out because he wasn't that good.
You said you're not.
This year, if he wanted any chance of being drafted in the future, he killed it this year.
Oh, 100%. But I think Florida takes down Auburn for sure. I have a matchup against Duke. There's no way Houston is able to overcome Duke. They're just too top heavy, too strong, and too well coached to really lose that game. But I think Florida wins it all. I think Florida has the size to match up against Duke, especially down low. Alex Condon, for as big as he is a good ball facilitator. Thomas Huff is a solid stretch 3, stretch 4. Ruben Chinyelu locks down the paint, and Walter Clayton Jr. is your primary ball handler, and he's dropping 20 points a game.
So you're not convinced by Johni Broome, right? Yes, that what you said.
I'm not convinced by Johni Broome. I think Florida takes out Auburn fairly easily. They were the consensus number 1 going into the tournament. They're definitely not the number 1 team in the country at all. They were not this entire tournament. They honestly could have lost early. They could have, and I think they should have lost early. I don't know if this Auburn team really deserves to be in the Final Four.
I'm telling you now, bro.
I really don't know.
They couldn't stop Broome the first time. Broome had 18 and 11 the first time they played, or something like that.
Because he's still a solid double getter.
Yeah, but
every
that
night
means,
he goes out there and gets a solid double.
That means the front court's going to have even more opportunity. I don't think this is an easy matchup whatsoever. I'm actually afraid that they're going to lose. I want them to win, but that gives way more opportunity for the front court. When the player is that good as a forward, you got to think about what Alex Condon, I think, is going to be having opportunity. Chineleu, like you said, is going to have. Excuse me if I pronounced that wrong. And then Thomas Hall, Micah, whatever his last name is. They're all going to have a chance to just really go at it against Florida, and that's just my biggest fear, bro. Like Florida's they stand a great chance against Duke, in my opinion. That's one of the best.
The real question about Auburn is Chad Baker Mazara healthy?
Yeah.
If he's not healthy,
and it's not even if he's not healthy. If he's not 100%, that takes out a key cog in that Auburn rotation. That's even just more proof why I think Florida. If I were to be a betting man, I'm taking Florida money line and the under on this game. I think it's going to be a lot of defense. It's going to be high pressure. I mean, Auburn has had so much pressure on them the last few years, especially after last year losing to Yale in the first round, right? They've had a lot of pressure on them the last few years. They weren't a notorious basketball program by any means in the last decade. And now you made the Final Four as the consensus number one seed. And now you're going against Florida, who's been red hot all season, beat the brakes off Tennessee and Alabama in their conference tournament, won the conference tournament. Now they're another number one seed. In neutral ground, this is going to be a tough matchup for Auburn. Yeah. And simply because they have not hit their team total points in the 7 of the last 8, I got to go with the under. I think there's going to be a lot of defense. It's going to be a defense-centric matchup. But Florida gets my vote for the win, and I think Florida wins it all.
Nice.
I got Florida.
I got
Duke. About Florida that they have is the clutch factor. They've just been able to close out games. Walter Clayton has had so many big shots this tournament. He had 2 huge threes against Texas Tech in like the last minute and a half, and then against UConn too. He closed that game out basically by himself. So they're battle tested, and they faced some of the tougher teams in this tournament. And I think they're going to beat out Auburn, but Duke is just going to be too much.
Right.
Because they're a locomotive on offense.
The matchup is perfect against Duke. If you think about it, the rotations are perfect. The way they play, like you said, Florida is always under pressure at the end of the game. Okay, there's going to be a tight game against Duke if they play each other. Florida has the best chance to beat.
If there is one thing that Duke is lacking somewhat, it's the experience factor.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. They're young, man. Like I get it. They have all-star players with.
I would, if it goes down to the wire in that game, I'm trusting Florida specifically because Walter Clayton's been around. He's been around the block.
Like we look back before the tournament when Duke played UNC. Like they were unprepared that entire second half. They didn't know exactly what they were doing. That's the thing I go off of mainly when it comes to this national championship matchup. When Duke plays Florida, and it gets down to the wire, I am going, like you said, I'm going to trust Florida with my life on that last shot. So I mean, obviously Duke has more talent. I will agree with that. Duke has the better talent, but when it comes to being coached better, like it's up in the air for me, man, because it's so many different realms you can go to. Like end of the game, like Florida, you're going to trust to start off the game to get hot. I'm going with Duke. Like in the middle of the game, who's going to shift momentum? That's a toss up to me too. So if it goes down to the wire, like I said, like I've been saying, Florida's going to take that. And I wouldn't be surprised if Duke did. Don't get me wrong. Their talent overweighs everything else, even if they're not coached well sometimes. But Florida just has the all-around, talent and coaching to win that game. I think they're the best chance to knock off Duke.
All right. So before we move into the NBA playoffs, we have a graphic. Who are you taking in this 2v2? I don't know if it goes east to west or north to south, but if it's east to west,
come on, man.
If it's east to west, there's no chance. There is no chance that you are beating Warren Betts and Cooper Flag. There is no chance.
No.
North to south.
Not one. You don't have a prayer. I'm sorry. I love Paige. Paige is good. She's great. She's one of the greatest women's basketball players. You're not beating Flag and Betts. That's not going to happen.
Cooper is so much more athletic than Janai Broome, too. And you just get him out on the perimeter, and it's Rap City, USA from there pretty much.
Janai Broome can't guard. He can't guard Cooper Flag, bro.
It's going to literally have
Janai Broome is slow.
Paige Beckers would literally have to hit a bunch of shots from the mid range. She's not getting in the paint.
Hey, she's hitting that too. Don't get him mixed up. She's hitting that over.
But when it comes down to Jonai Broom, Cooper Flagg is locking that down. Sorry. Cooper Flagg has some real defense.
He has some real defense, but
If Auburn makes the championship,
oh, it's over. It's wraps. I ain't gonna lie. That matchup is sad. He's too slow. He's too slow
he's
to
gonna be
guard
cooked.
Flagg, bro.
I'm sorry, I like Jonai Broom, but he's too cooked. He's cooked. He's cooked.
Joe, man,
it's just not a good matchup for him at all.
So before we move, we're moving into the NBA playoffs now. We have the graphic up here. This is as of last night, after last night's game. You have the Bulls and the Heat playing for the 9 and 10, and you have the Magic and the Hawks playing for the 7th and 8th on the East Coast side, on the Eastern Conference side. On the West side, you have the Dallas Mavericks and the Sacramento Kings in the 9th and 10th spot. And then on the 7th and 8th spot, you have the Wolves and the Clippers. And you obviously see really pretty much 1 through 6 for both sides didn't really change for the playoffs for East or West. So the one thing that happened last night was pretty good for the Warriors. If they played at 4 and 5, the Warriors went into LA last night and got a win. And then Ja Morant played against the Miami Heat. And even though right now they're scheduled to play the Denver Nuggets, Ja Morant hit a game winner, like I was telling y'all in Tuesday. Didn't I tell you Tuesday?
Hey, man, I've been saying this.
You did.
Didn't I tell you Tuesday that if Ja Morant is healthy, the Grizzlies are a problem?
Hey, let me say something real quick. Ja Morant, Zion Williamson. I understand Zion is not playing, but 1 and 2, those are my guys. Those are one of my favorite drafts ever. Zion and Ja Morant against the Nuggets. I got them in 6 games, and I promise you, they're the deepest team in the league, next to probably the Thunder. Okay, the Grizzlies are something else. They I don't know how they lost the 2 seed or 3 seed they had last week, and then went down to 6 already. But
it's because the West is so tight. It's just you lose a couple games. They lost 4 in a row. So
yeah.
Wild is.
But they was losing close games though. They was losing by the buzzer beater for a cool week. It was crazy. But look, if the Grizzlies play the Nuggets, bro, I got Grizzlies in 6. And that's no disrespect to Jokic, but their team is not deep, not like the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies have just so much young talent. And if we're talking about the Thunder, okay, that 7 and 8 play-in spot was the Clippers and the Timberwolves, correct?
Correct.
Man,
yep.
Listen, that is not those teams you don't want to see first round. I'm not gonna lie.
Especially AE. AE's
yeah, you do not want to see Anthony Edwards in the first round, especially if you're with a team as inexperienced as Houston. Houston's doing great this year. Don't get me wrong, but I think they're shooting a little. They're shooting a little above their pay grade when it comes to their spot in the standings right now. If I'm Ime Udoka and the Houston Rockets,
great coach.
I am terrified of seeing either of those teams, but especially the Timberwolves. I think the Timberwolves are much more well-rounded. I think that just the experience factor alone, does Houston win more than 1 game that series? They might. I think they win maybe one game.
They have home
2.
court, so
I'm sleeping on Houston.
Against the Timberwolves?
Oh my God!
Against the Timberwolves.
They're winning. They're going to 7 games. Let's get that. Let's get that understood. That series, Rockets versus Timberwolves, that's going to 7.
What about Clippers then? I mean, that's the same thing. A lot. Really?
I do. I think Rockets. I don't think. Listen, you understand that James Harden has a career low of 33% field goal percentage in the playoffs. I don't trust him. I trust Kawhi, but he's not even. He's not healthy ever. So it's going to be very tough for that team to beat a young, healthy, Rockets team.
Yeah, now, they're young and they're very balanced too. I mean, the oldest player on their roster is 30. It's Jeff Green.
Yeah,
but if you were to disregard Jeff Green, it's 30-year-old Fred VanVleet.
And he's still
that's the oldest player on the roster.
He's still a hooper.
And
he still is. He's down to 14 points a game this year. He's still taking 13 shots a game. Jalen Green's obviously the lead scorer. Alperen Sengun it's in the name. He's a goon. Alperen Sengun is a disgusting basketball player, but it's the experience factor. They're seemingly coming out of nowhere to be this good. Last year, 41 and 41. I can give him that, but it's not been a steady build. It has not been a steady build under any means. They had 20-ish wins for the last 3 years after Mike D'Antoni was gone and Steven Silas took over. Ime Udoka since then, it's been good, but they're seemingly coming out of nowhere with largely the same roster. Obviously bringing in Van Vliet and Brooks, but largely the same roster again, going from 20 wins to 50 wins in 2 calendar years. I just can't trust that in the playoffs.
See, my question.
I just can't.
I think we talked about this on Tuesday. I think they're just a year away. That's all it is. They're not quite ready yet.
It's like the Thunder from last year.
Yeah.
It's like the Thunder from last year.
Was
They're
their
a
record
year away.
fantastic?
They
Of
made it to the
course
second
it was.
round and lost in 6 games, bro. I'm telling you, the Rockets have a chance to actually to beat one of those teams. And then the next round, then it gets tough. I think who would they play?
They play the winner of the 4-5 Lakers. The 3-6. Sorry, the Nuggets and Grizzlies.
Okay, then that gets more tough. Okay, then they would lose. Okay, but I'm saying they can win one round. I genuinely believe they will win one round. I don't know if it'll be against Anthony Edwards. That's one. I don't know. But the Clippers, I think they beat the Clippers.
Route.
Like
They're the best route. Yeah.
The real question is whoever loses that 7-8 spot or that 7 spot, and they go play another playing spot against the Mavericks and Kings. Who are they playing? The Mavericks or the Kings? I know it's like it doesn't really matter, but those teams, they're not great. The Mavericks history, with the Luka trade that unfortunately, and Kyrie getting injured. Who's winning that game? Like Mavericks or Kings? I think that's a very important thing to understand. Like that, and once you lose one playing game, it's very hard to win that next one. Like very.
But what I was saying with when I was talking about the most dangerous team in the West on Tuesday, I said it. The doggone Golden State Warriors.
Duh.
Yeah.
Golden State looks absolutely fearful.
Listen,
no,
they're lethal.
Stephen Curry.
If he averages 30 a game,
if you've seen that game at the end of the game, Draymond Green and Jimmy Butler playing defense like that on that kind of a level, and then don't forget Jimmy Butler. I know some Golden State fans talking about, Jimmy Butler looks average. Wait to the playoffs, bro.
When
this man is in the playoffs, he's already been proven to take a team that barely had a superstar. It was just him, and took them all the way to the finals twice.
Most dangerous team in the playoffs. Most dangerous team in the playoffs is the Warriors on the West side, at least. On the east side,
on the West side, at least, yes.
We can talk about
on
the East
in a
minute.
Side, I can say if Dame comes back, it'll probably be the Bucks.
Ooh, he coming back too. Hey,
he comes back. I think the Bucks will be actually pretty tough.
Doc did say that the injury is not as bad as previously thought, which was exactly the words we wanted to hear as Bucks fans, and that he could be back not only in the playoffs, but earlier in the playoffs than we expected, like possibly towards the end of round 1.
So let's
So you get to Indiana. What are y'all gonna play with the Cavs? What you gonna play the Cavs?
No, we
Indiana, and then we play the
second round. We play the Cavs. Yes.
Yeah. So you get through Indiana, you play the Cavs the second round with a Damian Lillard who has some rest.
No, we're losing.
We're losing. It's wishful thinking to think that we could take down Cleveland. The lights are not too bright for Jared Allen anymore. Cleveland is probably going to steamroll their way to the finals. However, obviously Boston still exists. I don't trust the Knicks or Pistons.
I won't say steamroll.
Well,
that's
they're not going to sweep Boston by any means. But I think this time around, it's Cleveland's year. It's basically playing themselves. They would have to beat themselves to not make the finals. It's tough.
Yeah,
it's tough.
I
will gladly sleep on the Knicks.
We need to stop.
I'm sleeping on the Pistons. I'm sleeping.
My bed's over there. I'll go take a nap.
I'm sleeping on the Knicks. I got my eyes on the Pistons because they're young and they're like the Rockets. They're nice. Okay, Cade Cunningham has a chance to be the best player in the league one day. Okay, he's on that way. Okay, now I'm sleeping on the Knicks all day long. They're not good to me, bro. Without Jalen Brunson, they are an embarrassment. Okay, in my opinion. And when it comes to the Pacers and us playing the Pacers, we're going to beat them in 6. Okay, if we're healthy, we're beating them in 6. I'll give them 2 games. Now,
got breaking news for real. Even though it came out I think about an hour ago, Ja Morant fined $75,000 for his gestures.
Let that man live, man. Let that man live.
Do that to everyone else on the bench.
Everyone does
that then too. Every single player does that, and other leagues too.
$75,000. That's wild. That's almost $100K.
It's only just because of his past history. That's all it is. It's just because,
No, it's It's just picking on the guy now at this point.
Yeah, well, that's what I
Everybody
mean.
is,
They're
absolutely.
Well,
gonna
you
look
think
at
about it.
him with
They
a
did the same thing
magnifying
with
glass
Draymond.
because of his past.
They did the same thing with Draymond. Draymond makes one mistake, they're all over that. Like that,
For those who
they haven't
don't
even done
know,
it to Dylan Brooks yet.
for those who don't know, this was the two gestures: April 1st and April 3rd.
Yes, sir.
After he hit the first three of the game for I think his first points of the game, I guess, for Memphis, he put up looked like, what was it, an AK it looked like. So
Big Ja fan. Huge Ja.
my cousin was like, he's so ignorant that he love it.
He does. He loves it. I love it too. Let him
He
live.
throws that up, but ends up to proceed to end up winning a game.
And here we go into the half-court set. No Tyler Hero in here, so they can switch everything.
Jalen, your mic's muted, by the way.
The move that he did was insane. Like, that step back was insane. I'm sorry.
No, I just love Brian.
I'm surprised he ain't throw it up there.
Bang.
He should have, but I just love Brian Anderson on these calls, man. We're talking about some all-time broadcasters here.
Call
Brian Anderson, BA might be one of the greatest to ever do it in the very end. But I want to know what your guys' thoughts are on this. Do we really think the Grizzlies can go far at all with the inconsistency at their head coaching spot? Because we still don't know why Taylor Jenkins was fired. We still don't know. We probably won't know for a long time. But the roster obviously didn't change. The play style didn't really change. Like, they're not going to change things up. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's assistants taking over, so it's not like a brand new head coach was brought in like the Bucks last year with Doc Rivers. But can this team actually go far? Like, is there any chance? We talk about them being the deepest team in basketball. The deepest team, especially in the West, but they're going up against the Nuggets right away. Talking about Jokic, talking about Jamal Murray, like the guys who just won a ring a couple of years ago and are still just as good. Jokic might be the greatest basketball player on the planet right now.
Did you forget that the Grizzlies with John Morant when they were in the playoffs last time? I understand they lost to the Warriors, but they took them to 7 games, my friend. 7 games. That's when the Warriors won the finals that year. Okay, but
I'm gonna talk about it again, like I said on Tuesday.
And here we go into the half-court set.
This man is playing.
I gotta stop sleeping on him, bro.
They are a legitimate problem. This man is playing. They are a championship contender.
Look,
period.
They ain't going to
call 12. T. Morant looks at the watch like it's his time.
Now listen,
and they all running calling 12.
If they play against the Thunder, they're losing. Okay, they suck.
Well, I think anybody who plays against the Thunder is losing.
They suck against the Thunder. But the team that the Thunder should not want to see the first round is Anthony Edwards. That is one team that I do not want to see first round. The Clippers I want to see. Okay, the Clippers, Mavs, and Kings. Let's see them first round. Okay, it's not an issue. But if I see Anthony Edwards first round, I'm sweating a little bit because if you go to 7 games, if that goes to 7 games and they have to play the Lakers or Warriors next round, they're losing. They're losing.
I'm glad you threw that graphic back up, Jalen, because I honestly I think the favorites right now, Cleveland, OKC. Like the league, I feel, has to be squeamish if 2 small markets are in the finals this year.
Yep.
Because I guarantee you for the money thing.
We're gonna want Lakers Celtics or something along those
Lakers Knicks, LA versus New York.
They're praying for that.
If anything, if it comes to tuition and push come to shove, they want to see Steph Curry or Jokic playing against the Celtics
or Bron. This might be the last year. Yeah. This might be the last year of pure dominance from Bron. Like, he's still out there doing it, but it's not going to be long. It's not going to be long, and soon he's going to retire. That's just the reality of the situation. If I'm Adam Silver, we're talking about some of the greatest. We're talking about the greatest basketball player of all time, other than Michael Jordan. However you want to slice it, one's 1A, one's 1B. There is no number 2.
There's wrong
1A and 1B. There's no wrong answer. We're talking about one of the greatest basketball players to ever walk this earth, and he's going to not be playing anymore in less than 5 years. It might even be less than 3. We might get 1 or 2 good to great seasons left out of LeBron.
I think we
before
get
he retires.
Next year and that's it.
I think we get.
We knew he was hanging around. We knew he was hanging around still to play with Bronny. Wherever he went to, he was going to go there for at least a year, maybe 2. And Bronny ends up going to the Lakers. Call it nepotism, call it what you want. But He ends up going to the Lakers. Bron plays the season.
So
Does he stay around for one more? I mean, is his contract up? That's the next question I have. I don't know the exact contract details off the top of my head.
Yeah, I think he's planning on declining the player option, something like that. He's
So
doing
then
something to.
he might.
He's doing something.
Have
to
we even
make sure they
considered?
get better players for Luka? That's what he's doing something like that. So I'll report on that.
Have
but
we even considered he might be done after this season?
he's not.
This might be it for Bron, especially playoffs wise. This might be it. This could very well be it. And,
It's last season for sure. If he
and
wins
the Luka trade
He's going
too.
on top.
We're talking about the Luka trade too. I mean, Luka Doncic heading to LA of all places. There's still something fishy about that too. About how that trade went down, how Nico Harrison supposedly talked to nobody else in the NBA and went straight to Rob Pelinka and said, "Hey, I don't want arguably a top 5 basketball player in the world right now. I don't want him on my team anymore." Why? Because he likes to smoke hookah and eats a little bit too much. You want him? We'll take table scraps. And Rob Pelinka even thought he was joking. Why he only talked to LA makes no sense. There's no logical reason behind it. He could have gotten so much more.
We'll never find out.
For Luka Doncic. They went just to LA. It feels like the league wants LeBron to get one more ring before he rides off into the sunset.
He's not going to get one because Luka doesn't play any defense. And we saw that last night because Curry put him in a blender 8 times and in 2 quarters. It was crazy. And look, I got first round.
Last thoughts.
If the Thunder plays Timberwolves, that's going to 7. I'll take the Thunder over them. This is my West, and then I'll get to East. Then I got the Warriors. Then I got the Grizzlies in 6. The Rockets will probably play the Clippers, maybe. Or even the Mavs or Kings, whatever. But the Rockets, whoever they play, I think they'll win in 6 or 6. Yeah. And then East, that's a tough one, man. Cavs, man. If the Cavs see the Magic, or that's a good series, man. The Magic aren't ready yet, but that's still
almost definitely.
They're too injured right now, but we gotta stop sleeping on Paulo. But yeah, the Cavs are gonna win the round regardless, I think, and then. Pacers versus Bucks. I got us in 6 if we're healthy, and I got Pistons, man. I got Pistons winning against the Knicks, bro. I'm not convinced about the Knicks. The Cat can't guard any big. Celtics are gonna win whoever they play. So, but we'll get to the next round after that eventually. But that's my first round predictions.
All right, well, fellas, this has come to the end of the live now, so we'll probably jump into some. We're gonna talk about the NCAA championship. Obviously, that happens on Monday. The women is on Sunday, so we'll jump into that on Tuesday's show, and we'll give you more NBA playoff recap or NBA playoffs. And then we're going to have some games across the weekend, so we're going to stay focused on that. And if any breaking news drop, we'll probably come together or something and drop a reel or something. But final thoughts, we'll get into the NFL as well next week as well. Tuesday and Thursday will probably be our NFL days because we'll be 2 weeks away next week.
Yep. Next week, Thursday, 2 weeks away.
Yep. So we'll jump into some NFL content, and we'll get you ready for that. So final thoughts, fellas?
Go Bucks. And
I just want to say that the last 3 games have proven that we all jumped the gun. I'll admit I was a little guilty of it when it comes to the Brewers this year. And basically,
no, you jumped the gun. I told you on Tuesday that it's.
I said I'm not jumping to any conclusions on them until I even said it verbatim, just to put a button on it, just to get a date out there, May 10th. Then I'll jump to conclusions.
Yep.
And I said this on Hawk Talk the other day too. It has more to do with the fact that it was the first 4 games of the season than anything. It's just everyone's been missing the game for so long. If you start out really rocky in those games, people are going to be up at arms pretty quick. And that's definitely what happened. Everyone just needed to take a breath, just let things play out. And Nestor was nasty last night. We were able to get the win. So
hey,
all's good in the world again.
There's some great pitching last night.
You and Drew needed to take a breath. Y'all were ready to roast.
It was a pitching battle last night.
I'm feeling a bit more undaunted than I did on Tuesday morning.
Good.
Definitely.
Good.
The Cubs are still going to win the division anyway. So,
anyways, oh my God.
I decided to.
We'll talk about that next week.
I decided to unfortunately watch the Brewers game over Giannis's masterpiece of a triple-double last night.
Yeah,
talk about an hour and a half of my life I'll never get back. But I'm just glad that there's still a little bit of hope left for both the Bucks and, I mean, the Brewers for a while looked like no hope. But like we said, can't jump the gun yet. There's still a little bit of hope left for Milwaukee, the Bucks especially going forward. The Badgers, though, Badger basketball did bring in a new transfer in the form of Brookfield's own Andrew Rohde, coming back home from Virginia. He was at St. Thomas for a year in the Summit League, the first year that they were in Division I, where he had actually, and that's where Miles Barnstable from UW-Whitewater, our alma mater, he ended up transferring there to go
Miles
play D1.
is in the portal right now as well.
Mm-hmm.
Again, he's getting offers from, I think, Wake Forest and a couple other I don't know if they're Power 5 schools, but I know High Point was in there as well.
Well, High Point's actually got a good basketball program now, and they have exposure too. But St. Thomas, as a freshman, 31 starts that year, 33 minutes a game, shooting 45%. The three-pointer wasn't really flying. It started flying this year, 41% at Virginia, but 4 boards a game, 4 assists per game, 17 points. As a true freshman at St. Thomas, a Division I program, a brand new Division I program, they actually retained a lot of their roster as well. They brought in a few transfers and kept some recruits coming in, like Andrew Rohde, and then retained largely the same roster in their first year of D1. And this guy was dropping 17 as a starter, as a true freshman. Goes to Virginia the last 2 years. Year 1 didn't really do too much. Year 2 this year is a lot better. Coming back home to Wisconsin, going to use his last year of eligibility here. He's currently listed as a guard. He's a little bit of a tall guard, though, 6'6", 185, so he fits at more of the 2-3 spot, kind of like what John Tonje was. I'm not saying this guy's going to be John Tonje. John Tonje, already on the Mount Rushmore of Badger basketball. Debate a wall. But yeah, he is. Wow. He is.
All right.
For one season, he had arguably the greatest individual season for a Badger.
That was the craziest one of the day. Okay.
He did.
With that,
all right,
we're going to end on that. My final thought, NHL playoffs start April 19th.
Debate the wall, man.
It's going to be pretty interesting to see. You know, my team may not end up making it, but you know, it'll be nice to see. So with that, we're going to log off here.
Frank
you all want any content?
Michael Finley, Alondo Tucker, John Tonje.
In
that order.
In
order.
Sam Decker needs to be on there.
I agree.
He's the 5.
You missed him.
5.
No,
he's the crazy horse monument of the Badgers Mount Rushmore. That's Sam Decker.
Wow.
We can talk more about this after, but man, John Tonje is on that Mount Rushmore.
We'll have to hit that group chat for real. So follow our podcast page on all platforms, on our different platforms. We have a Spotify that we're going to drop into the link in the description. We have an Instagram page, and we have a TikTok now as well. So you can also follow our personal Instagrams. It's actually on the bottom of our nameplates here if you want to give us a follow on our personal accounts. And with that, you know, this is Shot of Sports, and you know, we'll see y'all on Tuesday. And it'll be a good weekend of sports for a Final Four. So let's get it.
Peace out.
Badger should be there. John Tonje, go.
Do my drummer.
He gonna live on this hill.